to Jennifer Knatters. I am Jennifer, and this is my knitting and nattering video podcast where I go on and on about all the things I've been knitting recently. I don't think I really have any other crafts, but sometimes I do. It has been a while. I'm trying to see. I think it just started raining, but I'm not entirely sure because it's still sunny out this window. Anyway, it's been a dreek day. It has been a while. I'm a bit out of practice. Did I say I'm Jennifer? I think I did. We'll assume I did. If you are a new viewer, welcome. This will probably be a bit all over the place because I'm out of practice. And I couldn't even find my notebook I usually write out my show notes in. I don't always, but I try to. And so I'm largely going to be winging this. For returning viewers, thank you for coming back and being with me. I've had a few new subscribers since last time, which is really exciting. I mean, I have a small enough subscriber number that any new subscriber is a big deal. And I'm like, someone liked it. My cat might be coming up. This is Libby. I don't know if you can see a tail. Hello, princess. Yes, I'm talking to someone, which means you want my attention instead. She and you can almost see her. She and the other cat, this is Libby, our gray kitty. We also have a ginger kitty named Oliver, and they were both sat over on the other settee grooming each other a little bit ago. I think she's going to sit down on my lap. And I don't know if you can see all of the cat hair, sorry, floofing about, but she is definitely shedding. Hi, I'm Jennifer. I live in Northern Scotland. I'm originally from Northern California, and I live here with 2 cats, as you have now inferred, and my husband and 2 children. Let's try this, shall we? Starting with what I'm wearing. I feel so out of practice. Starting with what I'm wearing, I am finished my blueprint pullover by, I think it's Paper Lantern Knits. It might be Paper Moon Knits. You think I would have looked it up for the one where I'm going to talk about the finished object. You would be wrong, is basically the only thing I can say there. It is knit in Nua Sport. And I love it. I think the color is Figment. It's the bluey purple one. In some lights it looks blue, in some lights it looks purple. It fits really well in my wardrobe. I have loved wearing it since I have finished it. I do have a little bit of pilling under my arms, but that's largely stopping, I think. And yeah, it's got this lace pattern that does a little triangle down the front, and otherwise it's a very boxy cropped fit with just ribbed sleeves. I think I did the second size based on my upper bust measurement, and then I knit the sleeve depth for the largest size, and then when I did the sleeves I picked up the number of stitches for the largest size and knit. So I've got bigger sleeves, but the rest of it's oversized without being huge, which is what I want. And then the extra circumference fits in nicely without like drowning me. So yeah, it's got drop shoulders, and then the ribbing is all the sleeve. And I really like it. I'm very happy with it. I wear it. I haven't worn it a whole heck of a lot, I think. I didn't wear it much in July. Maybe just a little bit in the morning or the evenings. It tends to be pretty muggy here, and then even if it's cool, like as soon as you move, now it is definitely raining. As soon as you move, like I feel all hot and sticky. I'm from Northern California. There is no humidity there, and I have no natural defenses for humidity. I really feel it a lot. Excuse me. My next finished object, which I think was also almost finished, is a pair of socks. This was the West Yorkshire Spinners Christmas color this year. Very sparkly. It is vintage Christmas lights, vintage tinsel. This is an all year round color for me. It is not overly Christmassy. I have woven in the end, I just haven't trimmed it, so that wasn't very professional. I wound up doing a shaped toe that's really, really wide, just because. Basically every pair of socks I do gets a slightly differently shaped toe, but I am enjoying doing like a left-leaning toe and a right-leaning toe. I did a heel flap and gusset. That's upside down, that's why it's looking weird. A heel flap and gusset, and I do continue just the slip stitches under the heel for a bit of reinforcement there. I like the slip stitches on the back of the heel. That's not a place where I need reinforcement, but it does make it a little narrower and longer, which describes my heels. So I tend to have very skinny heels, and I need a long heel flap. So yeah. And then I didn't do any yarn bossing. It just naturally worked out where it was the pink going into the round. So it looks a little weird if you look really closely at the gusset. No one who doesn't love me is going to be looking really closely at the gusset. And no one who loves me would think, why did you choose to make it look really weird like that? So I'm not worried. So those are my two finished objects. And then I have a half finished object, which is a little shorty sock. And I think this is a Regia. Cotton color, tutti frutti. I bought 2 skeins of this, 200-gram skeins, balls. I guess because I thought I was going to knit knee highs or something, but it's cotton. It is like a stretchy, I just dropped that on the cat. Like it stretches, so it's not a pain to work with. It is 72% cotton, 18% polyamide, 10% polyester. I have the tiniest bit of frog in my throat, so I'm sorry if my voice sounds just a little weird. Tea. Just drinking my plain Earl Grey with sweetener and milk. I did not do a shaped toe, but I did a very wide toe. My toes, they're largely the same length, so having a very pointed toe doesn't feel uncomfortable or anything, but there's no real need, I guess, is the thing on that. And yeah, I'm planning on, again, heel flap and gusset, square heel, carrying on under the heel for the slip stitches. I'm planning on just making a bunch of these, and then as long as I can find 2, I can pull them out and wear them in my trainers when I do my running. I do have one other pair of cotton socks, and I don't think the cotton, I think it was an opal cotton, and it's not as soft as this feels in my hands, but with those I did wind up needing to turn them inside out and wear them. They'd even had like a little cable up the sides. But yeah, those ones I had just wound up having to wear inside out because the pearl bumps, I can feel them under my feet in cotton the way I can't in wool socks. So if I need to do that with these, I don't mind. And yeah, I've got one finished because one of my children has been doing summer activities, and I've just sat there knitting a little further. And then I have, this is an awkward point to show it. Sorry, Libby. I have just knit the ribbing and turned the heel, and I'm doing the decreases on that. I'm doing really spaced out decreases. They're like every 4 rounds, 4 or 5 rounds I'm doing a decrease, just because it is less stretchy and I need it, like it doesn't have any length in the leg to borrow for stretch. Like if one part stretches out, you can kind of take length from somewhere else, width and length and everything. It doesn't have that. I am not following a pattern for these. I'm just doing a regular sock, but I did the ribbing and then 1 round of knit plain, and then I did the heel flap. I do own a few patterns for shorty socks. I probably should have followed one of them, but I think at the time I was casting it on, I didn't really have anything to hand, and so I'm just winging it, basically. I do want them to be long enough that like they come up out of my shoe. I don't want them hidden in the shoe. I want, so that way if they're sliding, I have something I can tug on to pull them up. And hopefully those work out pretty well, because this is both my acquisitions and a work in progress. There was one day I took my youngest child to the beach, and when we got there I realized I'd forgot to bring knitting. So we went to Nairn Wool Shop and I bought a skein of this is Rico Suprema Merino linen silk, and it's, I don't know if that's focusing, but it's kind of blue stripy, just subtle blue stripes. And I bought a sock bag, and I bought needles. They're pony needles because these were the only ones they had in a 2.0 millimeter kind of 80 centimeter length. And again, I'm just doing a little shorty sock. I did a plain heel flap for this one, but again, square heel, and yeah, just knitting away. I do not like pony needles because the joins are really rough, and I find I have to very gently ease it through. Like when I want the stitches back on the needle, I have to very gently slide it through. It just takes a few seconds, but I do have to take a little extra time doing that. And yeah, I hope I like this yarn. I don't know if it's a new yarn or what. I don't know anyone who's knit with it. This was the only color they had in the shop that I liked. There were other, like there were West Yorkshire spinners, and I didn't realize they'd come out with new solid colors that are very much up my street. There's a really vivid, like a purple and, you know, like a aubergine kind of purple, and a really rich dark pink, and I don't remember what the other colors, I think like a rich blue. I'm trying to remember what the colors were. I know there was the purple because I've been wanting a purple for them from ages, and I may finally have one, but I thought I don't need that. Like I don't need a pair of West Yorkshire spinner socks right this moment. And you know, they have the stripy ones, but I have pretty much all the stripy ones in my cupboard. So yeah, I tried something new, and ooh, my eye's now twitching. Hopefully they will work out and I will get to use them. Some of my socks have not made it back in their project bags, so I'm now having trouble finding. Excuse me, a little bit of hiccups there. I'm now having trouble finding things. The other thing I have is really hard to show you, but it is most of a unicorn. So I have the unicorn body, and then I have, this is the bit I'm still working on, which is one of the hair bits. And then here's another hair bit, and then there'll be one more hair bit to do the mane. And then The mane has fringe, horn. This will be the horse's mouth. And then somewhere in here I have two little arms with blue hooves. So I just need to finish the pink one for the hair I'm working on, and then one more thing of hair, and then I can sew it all together. So I did make a lot of progress on that. It's just, I'm not the world's best crocheter, and it's all shaped differently. So I have to crochet around, read the pattern, crochet around, read the pattern. Someone's talking to me now. I don't remember which round I'm on. I have to count my stitches very carefully. Okay, I think I've worked it out, crochet around. So it's just, it's not something I can really work on when other people are around. And it is the summer holidays right now. It is by definition other people around. Today, my youngest is doing a little like sport craft summer camp thing over at the IRA, which is just a tiny distance that way. That's the local high school. My oldest was signed up for it, but has decided not to go. Kind of largely decided not to do any activities this summer, which is what it is, and that's fine. And now I know next summer not to worry about signing them up for too much. So yeah, I'm almost done with my crochet unicorn. And then I have one more new cast on since last we saw, because I finished my pullover, so I got to start a new one, and I wanted a summer tee, and I couldn't find. I bought 3 skeins of Lithuanian linen from Midwinter Yarns, and then I decided I wanted to hold it double to make it a bit thicker, because it's a really, I think it's a 3-ply like light fingering, but if I hold it double, it'll knit up faster, is basically where I am with that. And then there's more patterns that are written for linen, because linen doesn't drape the way animal fibers do, so you really need a pattern that takes that into consideration. So I ordered another 3, and now I don't know where the other 3 are. I know I've seen them. I know what packaging they're in. I don't know. I need to have a bit of a sort out and see where they are. So instead I took, last year for my birthday, I ordered, I can't remember, it's either 3 or 4 skeins of this, which is the tape is just stuck to it. Ripple's Craft Yarns. Was that a Kingfisher? And that's the Blue Face Leicester 4-ply, which is a high twist, non-super wash. So I bought this. Helen had a promotion where it wasn't a sale, but money was going to charity if you bought yarn that weekend. And so I bought a sweater quantity, and I'm just alternating 2 skeins. But this color is just so lovely. Libby is not appreciating this. And it's a saddle shoulder construction. I can't remember the name of the pattern. I don't remember the name of the designer. I'll put them both below in the show notes and possibly on the screen if I really have my act together. So it starts with knitting these 2 lace panels. You knit one and leave the stitches on hold, and then knit the other. And then pick up stitches along the side of the panel, cast on for the front of the neck, pick up stitches along the other panel, knit across the panel in pattern, pick up stitches along the side, cast on stitches for the back of the neck, pick up stitches on the side of the panel, and then knit to this in pattern to the front along the panel again to make a round. I'm sorry, Libby. Libby does not appreciate this. And then, you know, short row shaping and shoulder shaping and all that stuff. But I'm now at the round and round and round. And I have, as you can see, I've got 2 bits of yarn hanging out. So yeah, I'm alternating the skeins in the helical way. And it's just going to be, it's short sleeves again, slightly boxy, just like a crop light tee. Obviously it'll be wool, so it's not going to be the coolest thing ever. I mean, there's a little bit of, you can kind of see the light through. The breeze will go right through it. It'll be perfectly nice. And then, like, when it does get colder, I can layer it over, like I've got it over a vest right now. You can lay it over a vest or a longer sleeve shirt and just have that little extra bit of warmth. What am I looking for? I originally cast on the suggested needle size, and I just held on to that bit to show, like, that's just too airy. And I think the difference is it was originally knit in a fluffier yarn. I can never remember which one's woolen spun and which one's worsted spun. But a fluffier yarn rather than like a high twist. I would not personally make socks out of 100% BFL, but I know people do. And so in construction, like twist wise, this is more like a sock yarn than something like Shetland, which is really fluffy, fuzzy yarn. So yeah, that was just too much. So I went down a needle size. I pretty much always have to go down a needle size. You may be inferring that I cast that on without having knit a gauge swatch, but I was kind of using it as my gauge swatch. And I figure when I get a little further, I will have enough yarn that I can throw this. Basically, when I put the sleeve stitches on hold to knit the body, I can put the whole thing on hold, give it a quick wash, let it dry, and measure it and see how I'm going. I did pick a size that is slightly oversized, but not as oversized as all the patterns call for right now. So if it winds up a little bit smaller or a little bit bigger, it should still fit. And if it doesn't, I'm not so far along that it would, you know, that I would cry to rip it all out. That's my plan. Fingers crossed. So yeah, it's really hard to show until I get to the sleeves and it looks more like a top. But just look at how beautiful those colors are. It's a really nice mix of teals, blues and greens with teal, and then there's some bits that are a bit more like mossy green and some bits that are almost purple, which I think is just like splashes of yellow and splashes of pink, just the tiniest bits. So yeah, making myself a t-shirt, and I don't know if either of these or something else will be my Glasgow School of Yarn jumper, because it is about time. Just heard a car out front and the gardener's supposed to come, and that means I'm gonna have to run outside and check for toys in the garden, and then it'll be quite noisy, so hopefully I can get this done before the gardener comes. But yes, Glasgow School of Yarn tickets went on sale over the weekend. I was able to buy a deluxe ticket for the Saturday, which has an earlier entry, and if you like, there's no, you can buy a ticket with a set time slot, but then if you miss your time slot, you have to wait until general admission at 1 o'clock. And And the deluxe one, you can enter from, it's either 10 or 10:30, and then you get a little goodie bag. Last year had a skein of yarn and a tea cake and some stitch markers. Just, a little cute bag. So I've got my ticket, and a bunch of people from my online knitting group are going to go, and we've got people coming from Australia and people coming from North America. I think it's worked out as a time when people who had otherwise booked holidays to the UK and weren't able to take them in the last couple of years were all like, hey, if people are going to go to that, I can time my holiday to overlap with the Glasgow School of Yarn. Libby is now sat up there so you can properly admire her. So yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I haven't booked train tickets yet. I went last year with one of my friends. We took the train down, and then the train, we missed our connection because they didn't hold the train, because the ticket said to change at this one station, which isn't the regular station, because they were doing construction. So they said change at this other the station where we got off our train. And we got off our train and they didn't hold the connecting train, so it left. And there were a bunch of us, going up the steps and over and down the steps, running down to the platform as the train pulled away. So we had to wait for the next train. And anyway, so yeah, we wound up getting there a lot later than we thought we would. And then the train back, and it was such a long day because it's a 3.5-hour train ride from Inverness to Glasgow. And yeah, that was a long day. So I was saying, if I did it again, I would want to get a hotel room and stay overnight. And I just need to talk to Chris about the feasibility of doing that. Or getting the train again and just accepting that it will be a very long day. Yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. I'm planning my Glasgow School of Yarn. You do Rhinebeck jumpers and Glasgow School of Yarn jumpers. Last year it was definitely Love Note was the jumper of choice for that one. I mean, there were so many beautiful Love Notes on so many different bodies, and I had knit one before, but I didn't wear it that day. And I've knit another since, and I would happily knit a third Love Note by Tin Can Knits. It's just such a wearable jumper, such a fun knit. And I knit my two with the same base yarn and then a different fluff. And they look completely different. And they're in different sizes, and it's nice. I like them. But I hear people feel the same way about the ranunculus. So I might at some point knit one of those. And yeah, but I'm trying to work from stash because I have so much stash. So much stash. I've knit 2 jumpers this year. This one and this one I'm working on are both from stash. And I have many other. I've been collecting sweater quantities for a while without really feeling I had the skill and everything else to know how to make them. But yeah, and then my tastes have somewhat changed since then, so I'm having to find, I'll have a jumper in mind for the yarn when I order it, which at least gives you quantity. It doesn't mean you have to knit that jumper, but at least you have a quantity that will fit on your body. But for this one, I ordered 10 skeins because it was a cardigan with a shawl collar and long sleeves, and then I knit a boxy crop with a bit of lace. Just close that window. Not because it's cold, but because the wind is getting noisy. So this used 4 skeins. It was 3 3/4 of a 50-gram skein. So I can knit another t-shirt. I wouldn't want to knit the same pattern in the same color yarn. I'd knit it in a different color yarn because that would be very wearable. But yeah, I've got another crop t-shirt kind of quantity for this yarn, and I also have some other colors in this yarn, so I could do something with different colors to make it bigger. But yeah, have sweater quantities and I need to use them. Acquisitions. I don't really remember what I've shown you before, but I do remember. I apologize for the crinkling. I do remember at one point saying that I had gotten my Scrappy Minis from Henny Penny Makes, and last year I got her Color Therapy Club, where each month if you get the Scrappy pack, you get 10 minis, 10 5-gram minis that are all of a theme color. So there's like pink, red, orange, yellow, green, teal, blue. I'm just going to dump these out. And I could not, when we spoke, find them, but then I found them. And now I don't actually have them because these are the second set. This year you could do it quarterly and then they all come, you get 3 months at once. And she's running 3 clubs this year. You can do last year's Color Therapy Club again, or you can do this year's a second year Color Therapy, and then there's another one where it's mixed ones. So I'm getting this year's Color Therapy and the mixed ones. So like, these are the yellows. So they're semi-solids and tonals and speckles. And then these are variegated. And that's Henny Penny Makes. Yellow. Greens. And teals, which I can then add to the ones I got from last year. And last year, the pink ones, I have knit and frogged so many times as I keep changing my mind about what I want to do with them. So now I have lots more colors, 5 grams each. And yeah, let's see what we can do with those. But they make me very happy. I thought I had put both last year's set and this year's set together, so I didn't look for more sets. Because like I just stuck my finished socks in with these, so I'd have them all together. But yeah, I've got the pink and the red, and then orange would have been the first quarter. And I've signed up for the third quarter, which should be blue, navy, and purple. I don't really remember. I'm getting lots of beautiful colors in little, I am absolutely a sucker for these 5 gram mini sets because they're perfect for like this mitered square blanket. You can kind of see how the squares go in the more variegated ones. That's basically 5 grams a square, so they're perfect for that. And yeah, really happy about those. And I think that's what I have. Update wise, I'm trying to remember when last I talked to you because I don't have my notebook, which at least would have the date. And then I didn't look up line when I posted it, but I think it was late May. I feel like it was right around my birthday. And since then, the kids have finished their year of school. They'll be going into P1 and P5 next year. And then it just got, I thought I could get another podcast in before the end of the year. But it wound up just being so hectic those last couple of weeks because with COVID and everything, they hadn't done any field trips throughout the year. So they were cramming them in towards the end. And then they had, school picnics and teddy bear day. And it was the Queen's Jubilee. So they were doing something. But then my older pumpkin did not want to go on the dress down day because it was supposed to also be a dress up day where you wear party clothes. She was just like, no, I'm not doing that, and I'm not having a picnic, and I'm not eating outside on the lawn. And I'm like, okay, then just stay home. And there was the school disco, and they had nursery had a little graduation ceremony and a sing-along. Yeah, they had a sing-in performance day and a transition day and there was just so much going on the last couple of weeks that I couldn't fit one in. And then a fun new asthma symptom for me has been that now every time I have an asthma attack, I get laryngitis. And like even, the asthma attack will last however minutes or hours. The laryngitis lasts hours. My eyes twitching. The asthma attack will last like, the rest of the day or a day and a half or something like that. And I looked it up, and there's a condition similar to asthma that is a throat thing and causes laryngitis. And sometimes the one is misdiagnosed for the other, but if your asthma medication works, then you have asthma, and if it doesn't work, then it's not asthma. My asthma medication works, and so I think I just have both now. So the next time I go for my asthma checkup, I need to introduce a fun new symptom. And then after that, fun times, I got a cold that started with laryngitis. So I assumed it's just me and being prone to laryngitis. But then the first week that the kids were off school, we went to one day. They had swimming lessons for the week. We went to the first day of swimming lessons, and then we went to the floral hall after and the park, and we eventually went home, and my mother was visiting, so it was all of us and Grandma, and we had to take the taxi because I got, for my birthday stroke anniversary, we bought an electric cargo bike, which I love. It is my favorite physical possession since my Razor flip phone. I had a red Razor flip phone in like 2004 or 5 or 6 or I don't know, mid 2000s, before everyone had iPhones. I loved that phone so much. I have not loved any of my phones since then. I don't love any of my laptops, computers. I feel strongly about books, but it's usually the contents of the book, not the physical possession of the book. This is the possession that I've had an emotional attachment to. The first one in like 15 years. I love it so much. Grandma cannot fit on the back of the cargo bike like my children can. So instead of just being able to pedal us over to the leisure center, we had to get taxis, and getting taxis back was really difficult, which is one of the reasons we went for the cargo bike, is that we can get around without having to rely on taxis, because taxis are a lot less available right now. But yeah, so Grandma was visiting, so we're getting taxis. I had trouble getting a taxi home. By the time we got home, my 9-year-old kitten and I were both just dead. I thought I was feeling better. I'd gotten the cold kind of the week before, and I was feeling better. And we got home, and she had lost her voice, and I had lost my voice, and we both basically took naps. And so we wound up canceling the rest of that week's activities. And then we still weren't really better the following week. And then my younger one, Rainbow, lost her voice. Like, we went to the park at the weekend, and then she lost her voice. I'm like, oh, well, you're getting her, you've got her cold, you have to rest. But then she didn't particularly, like, the next day she was fine again. Must be nice to be 5, right? So yeah, we canceled the second week of activities, and then my mother left. And then the third week, we didn't have anything scheduled, because I tend to plan 2 weeks of activities, 1 week off, 2 weeks of activities, 1 week off, to get us through the summer. So my mother had left, and then we had the week off, and that was also the week we had this really big heat wave here in the UK. And heat wave here in the UK in Scotland was significantly reduced compared to like London and southern England. By the time you get up to Inverness, it was like 25 to 27, which is a lot hotter than it normally is, but it's not, people dying in their homes hot or fires starting in the hills hot. But I took Rainbow, and I rode my bike to the train station, parked, locked it there, took the train out to Nairn, went to the beach. That's the day I realized I forgot my knitting, so I got to buy a new knitting thing. We had lots of fun. We went in the water. The water was, for once, not too cold to actually spend time in. We built sandcastles. There's two really nice playgrounds, a water playground, a little shed selling like snacky stuff and fish tacos now. They used to have a much bigger menu, and now it's pretty much fish tacos and pork tacos, which was an issue because on the Thursday, my older one agreed to go with us, and it wasn't quite as warm, but then we couldn't eat because she wouldn't have the pork tacos or the fish tacos. I don't eat fish, so for me the pork tacos would have been the thing. So yeah, we had such a good day, and she played on a zip line a bunch, and we got fancy ice cream, and when we got home, we were able to tell Kitten that they had monkey bars there, because Kitten has really gotten into doing the monkey bars. They have a really small, it's not even monkey bars, it's just like rings, but they don't swing. They're just set on a post, and she worked really hard towards the end of the school year to be able to get across them and come back. And so her thing is very much monkey bars. Now that we've had the mic, like we've gone around to a bunch of little parks in various neighborhoods looking for monkey bars. The first set of monkey bars we found was at Nairn Beach. So we went back on the Thursday, and it wasn't as warm, so we didn't go in the water at all. But they played on the playgrounds, and again, we had lunch at a restaurant, and we had fancy ice creams. The fancy ice cream shop had snickerdoodle ice cream on the Thursday, and I thought snickerdoodle ice cream, which, for those of you who aren't American, a snickerdoodle is a type, it's like a sugar cookie, but you make it with cream of tartar, so it has a slightly different texture, and then you roll it in a cinnamon sugar powder, so when it bakes, it kind of melts into the cookie a little bit. That's a snickerdoodle. And I thought, snickerdoodle, I wonder how that's going to translate into ice cream. So I ordered it, and it was caramel sauce, chocolate chunks, and peanuts. It was a Snickers ice cream. They made Snickers bar ice cream, but they called it snickerdoodle because I guess they'd heard the term and liked it. And anyway, this is a lot of what being an American living in the UK is, and I'm sure it's the same for anyone who lives in a different country from where they grew up, where the UK will take American things but not actually know what they are and be like, here's the thing. So yeah, it was disappointing, both because it wasn't a snickerdoodle and because if I'd known it was a Snickers ice cream, I like Snickers bars. They're fine. If I'm really hungry and, I just need to eat something really quick, a Snickers bar would do just fine for getting my energy levels up enough to figure out proper food. But I wouldn't have bought a Snickers flavored ice cream if I'd known that's what I was getting. The kids both got coconut ice cream then, and the coconut ice cream is much better. And then, having eaten most of their ice creams, they both decided they wanted to go play on the zip line and gave me their ice cream, saying they were completely done with them. So then I had 3 ice creams, and I could have just not had an ice cream at all and still wound up with the most ice cream. Catherine did come back, and sorry, my gardener just texted. They will be here in about an hour. So yeah, that was a bit weird. But, these things happen. And I just realized my spider plant, you can't quite see it, but it's got a flower shoot just sticking out, coming right towards me. Yeah, it's been a good summer so far. This week I had them signed up at the IRA. There's a sport and craft class camp where it's 9 to 2 and they bring your own lunch, alternate between doing crafts and doing sport games. And my older one went one morning, refused to let go of me the entire time, did the craft, and then we left. I had planned to drop them off and go for a run because I haven't been for a run all summer since I got the cold back in June. So I was going to drop them off. I was in my running kit. I feel really weird about being in like running leggings and stuff if I'm not. I know other people wear it as clothes, but for me it's something you wear when you're going to exercise. So I was basically sat there without any knitting, watching them do coloring. That day it was decorate tiles. So yeah, that was, I'm like, we got to 10:30 when they were going to switch activities. I'm like, I'll just take you home with me. And then after I picked up Rainbow at 2 o'clock, we went to the park and I ran around it. And she got stuck in a bush full of nettle. So I went around twice and then I heard crying and I found her in the bushes. So I had to help her get out of that without going through the nettle again. And then I had to stay with her for a bit, but then there were more kids at the park. So she played and I finished my run, and then it was so hot, which again, Inverness, so hot is not actually very hot, but it was really hot and humid for going for a run at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Like I poured her water bottle over my head because my water bottle had lemon flavor in it. And yeah, we got home and she was like all melty and she only let us leave the park because she'd been running around, and then she like just lay down in the grass. It was too hot to move, so I was able to put her in the bike and bring her home. Everybody had ice lollies. I've had a ice lolly. The kids had ice lollies. I offered to put Catherine in the bath to get her cooled down, but she didn't need that. So yeah, she decided she liked it enough, so she's gone every day. And Kitten has not gone. She has been having a lot of play dates with one particular friend, but then that friend went on holiday. Other friends hopefully are back, so she won't be quite so bored. Yeah, we're having a good time. We're enjoying summer, I think. I'm having a good time now that it's like, now that I'm over that cold. That really, I mean, I had laryngitis for almost 2 weeks. Not a lot of fun. The tickle in my throat today, I think, is a touch of laryngitis again, because I did the run on Tuesday. Oh, so after she did, I did 2 more laps. So I did the 4 laps, but I felt like I was like on the edge of an asthma attack. And I thought I'd forgotten an inhaler, but I realized today that my bicycling stroke running jacket, which has a zippered pocket in the back, like the only thing in it is one of my inhalers lives in there. So I did have one and I should have used it, but I didn't. So when I went for the run today, my throat was like, we're still not entirely over Monday, but I did have my inhaler, so I was able to use it. I basically use my inhaler every time I run as a preventive measure. But yeah, my legs, you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm poking them, and they are rock solid. My 9-year-old came up to me and was like squidging my legs. And why are your legs not squidgy like Dad's? I'm like, because I run and I ride the bike. Rock solid legs. I need to find something to do for my arms that doesn't involve my wrists, because I have tendonitis in both wrists, and anything I do with my hands is just right out. But yeah, and I, something for the core strength as well. Rock solid legs. Very proud of my rock solid legs. They're very strong. So yeah, that's kind of where we are. It'll probably be, my next one will probably be when the kids are back in school. They've got 1 more week off and then they're back in school. So I will have time to finish the unicorn and talk to you all on a more regular basis. I hope the sound on this is okay and my throat isn't as weird as I feel in my head that my voice is sounding. I hope you have been having a good summer or winter if you're in the other half of the world. If you've made it this far, if you could give it a thumbs up, that tells YouTube that this video is worth recommending to other people. I do not want to be internet famous, but I wouldn't mind having more people to hang out with. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Bye. Okay. What are you showing me? Isn't color changing?